welcome to Wednesday's Q&A. I'm Dr. Janine. Nice to see you. Please say hello, where you're from, and hey, if you've got your questions ready, I am ready to answer them based on, of course, yesterday's show. We talked about a bunch of new topics. So we talked about cataracts and vision health and that clouding of the lens of the eye. I know that there's some questions that are coming in about that already, as well as gut health, celiac disease. We also did some face taping, so continuing in on that playlist and working around the eye area. So if you want me to review any of those techniques, we can definitely go through that. And we were also talking in the previous show. So in last week's show, we talked about Botox and some of the side effects of Botox. We also talked about gut health. Kidney detox foods is something we talked about in last week's show as well. And diabetes, certain fruits that are good and not so good if you've got blood sugar issues. So that's some of the stuff that we talk about here at the Dr. Janine Show. And of course, Wednesdays are dedicated to you and answering your questions. I do my best to get to everyone. It's sometimes difficult, so my team, so if you see Team Dr. Janine behind the scenes, they help me to answer your questions as well. And it's great to see you. Fizza from California, nice to see you. Kai Kate, hello. And SK Ferretti in Brooklyn, New York, hello and welcome on in. I hope everybody's got some great questions for me today. Chad is asking about sea moss for gut health. Yes, sea moss has a lot of minerals. You just have to be aware of the source of that sea moss because it tends, like other algae and things in the ocean and in waters, they can trap a lot of heavy metal toxins. So that's the only caveat with any type of, marine product, vegetarian, they can chelate heavy metals. So that would be one thing. You have to make sure you got a pure source of that sea moss, which is not something that we did talk about yesterday. Maybe we could do a future segment on sea moss and I'll give you all the lowdown on sea moss. Hello, Kathy Stat. Hello, nice to see you. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Philip, it is nice to see you as well. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, okay, so asking about specific brands. This is, okay, for blue blockers. So I'm not going to talk about brands. All I'm going to say is that you've got to make sure that they are properly tested. So somewhere in the literature when you are buying blue blocking glasses that they have been tested to actually block the blue wavelength of light that is damaging to the eyes, okay? So some of them are more yellow. So that is something that's going to block usually up to 70% of the blue light. The very red ones that I wear just before bed that I don't have here in the studio, those ones block 100% of the blue light. So it depends what your goals are. Usually during the day when I'm on my computer, I'll wear these. I don't have them here on the set, but I do have a clearer lens that also blocks that blue light. And they're not all created equal, so you just want to make sure that when you're using them that they work well for you. And I have to say, unfortunately, the more money you spend, the better quality that you're going to get. So there are, some brands that are better than others. I've tried, the ones off of, online shopping. I've gone to different companies as well and purchased them. So just do your homework and look at the reviews as to, the fact that they've actually been tested for that specific blue light wavelength, which is usually between 420 to up to 500, usually around 460 is the most damaging. That's what the research shows in terms of damaging the eyes, causing cataracts, which is something that we did talk about yesterday. And I'm glad that that question came in about the blue blockers. Okay, thank you. Yes, cleaning your glasses is something that you're going to have to do a lot, depending on how much you're touching them. And my producer actually makes this wonderful spray, and I have that on my desk, and I'm always cleaning the glasses with that. Maybe I should share that recipe. Is that okay, Melinda? Yes? Which is great. For our blue light blocking glasses, amazing recipe. All right, hello, Big Mike in Oakville, nice to see you. You've got some questions. Of course, I don't answer specific medical questions here. That is not the goal of the Q&A. But general questions, so please ask general questions as it's related to yesterday's show. Now, if there is a topic that I haven't yet covered in the Dr. Janine Show, please make sure that you put it in the comments and it's something that we can work on. Kathy is asking about thyroid and specific, questions. I think my team is answering that one behind the scenes. And Marta is asking specifically about vitamins. I'm not sure for what because we've scrolled past, so please put your question again, Marta. And Yes, thank you. And okay, so the question came in about magnesium stearate, I believe. That is a flow agent, Mark. So that is it's something that they use in the manufacturing process of vitamins. So you really got to check your labels for vitamins, making sure that it doesn't have that magnesium stearate in there. It's never been tested to be safe for human consumption, okay? It has to make you wonder, okay, how healthy is this actually, you know, for me? And yes, it is in most vitamins that are out there. Okay, a question coming in about migraines and what can we do? Some tips for migraines. It is something that we talked about in yesterday's show, so let's review some of those tips really quickly. Now, if you are a headache sufferer, it need not be just migraines. It could be any type of headache. Here's my 7 tips to really help to relieve those headaches naturally. Okay, limit your EMF exposure. All of those devices, anything that's plugged in is going to give off an electromagnetism, and this is not so healthy for our cellular metabolism. Magnesium bisglycinate, a natural muscle relaxant, also helps to protect against those EMFs from too much calcium flooding into our cells. Really helpful for chronic headaches and those migraines. Iron bisglycinate as well. Often iron deficiency is going to manifest in those migraines. So making sure that, yes, if you've had your blood work done for an iron deficiency, that you're actually addressing this naturally with that iron bisglycinate, which is my favorite type of iron supplement to take. It's easy on the stomach. It's really well absorbed. And of course, it has that glycine. So we did talk about something else yesterday called glyphosate, that herbicide. This is really helpful to get as much glycine into your body as possible. That's why certain supplements that I do recommend, they always have that glycine. Okay, fix your leptin resistance. So we know that whole thing about leptin. If you know what leptin resistance is all about, your fat cells, that communication between your fat cells, your satiety, so your ability to feel full, your brain signaling, your entire nervous system reliant on leptin, and that is tied into how much sunlight you get on your skin. So this whole pathway is relatable to what's going on our inside, has to be related to what's going on our outside. And this is based on quantum biology now, how our cells, how our metabolism actually reacts with our outside world. And when there's a mismatch there and we have that leptin resistance, it increases our inflammatory processes and can even manifest in headaches and those migraines. So this is why it's so important to fix that leptin resistance. Fixing those hormones, super important. Okay, limit your carbohydrates. Spiking blood glucose, not a good thing if you're prone to your headaches. And of course, when that blood glucose is crashing, this can trigger the migraine as well. Full body detox, getting those toxins out of the internal organs. You got to do that at least a few times a year. I like it seasonally, so once per quarter. That full body detox, and I like to do it with herbal medicines, of course, targeting all those internal organs. And of course, acupressure. So that point that we talked about yesterday is called large intestine 4. We'll just show you a picture of this really quickly if we can pull that up. So it's right here. So it's in the web part between your thumb and your first finger. That point is the master head point in traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. If you stimulate the qi there, it can not only help with your bowels, and if you're constipated, this is a great point as well. Did you know that that constipation could be causing your headaches as well, because things are not moving the way that they should? But this is the master point for the head. So if you have any type of headache, this point is amazing. So that's how you find it. You just press there. Remember, the direction of your pressure is going to be across your hand, okay? Across your hand. So you're kind of pushing that direction. You'll feel a bit of an ache happening. That's how you know that you've hit that proper point. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, Erica, the full body detox. I have a number of videos on full body detox. Some of my favorite herbal medicines in combination that I love. Chlorella, which traps those heavy metals. No, that's not the right one. So as well as when we talk about, things like parsley, milk thistle, bearberry, are all fantastic. And in taking those in combination, great for that full body detox. So you can learn more, keep asking those questions, and we can definitely, my team is going to help you to answer all of that, Erica. Okay, and hello, and thank you for tuning in, everyone. It's so great to have you all here. Fearless for Fortune, a lot of parasite questions coming in. Okay, that's something that we did talk about a couple of weeks ago, that parasite cleansing protocol. That is something that I can show you because we just saw that slide. Some of my favorite herbal medicines is called Cabo, okay? A great way to remember it, C-A-B-O, okay? Cloves, artemisia, black walnut, and oregano in combination. Super, super powerful. I've used this with so many of my patients, and actually thousands of people love my protocol because it cleans up not only parasites, but candida as well. It is a candida cleanse. And there's a whole way about going about, it's something that we talked about a few weeks ago in the show, a whole way to do parasite cleansing the right way, following that up with the full body detox so you don't get that Herxheimer reaction, which is when people often don't feel great when you're doing a detox or a protocol because it can make you feel unwell. Hello, user 206 in Wasaga, nice to see you. Genesis, hello, and good afternoon, nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Another question, yes, go ahead. Headaches. Cluster headaches as well, yes, all those tips that I shared, fantastic for cluster headaches, okay? So especially the blood glucose levels, it's something that maybe not something that your doctor has always talked about, but yeah, you've got to really, find that balance for your blood glucose levels. Limiting that EMF exposure is really important as well. And those EMFs, that blue light actually raises your blood sugar. So even if you're doing okay with your diet, you're not necessarily eating a lot of carbohydrates, you're not having a lot of refined foods, and you think that, oh, your blood sugar should be okay, it may not be okay. This is one reason to get some testing done. It may not be okay because your blood sugar is going up because of your environment, because you're indoors, you're under artificial light, you're not getting out into natural light outside, and that's going to raise your blood glucose levels, especially if there's a lot of screen time happening for your job, for whatever, your social media, you're always looking at a screen, that's going to raise your blood sugar. So that can be part and parcel, plus putting that strain on your eyes, which can trigger the headaches as well. So, it's multifactorial in terms of those chronic headaches. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. It's great to have you here. Yes, we did talk about cataracts yesterday, and what are some of the symptoms of having cataracts in the eye? So that clouding of the lens of the eye. Let me just show you that really quickly. So if you don't know what a cataract is, it's when you've got a clouding of the lens of the eye, and now when that light is trying to come in and, of course, concentrate at the back of the eye, it's scattered because of that cloudiness. So this is something that is absolutely preventable. That's why I educate people about it. If you have them, I know that they can be reversed as well when you take the right nutrients. So maybe we'll all go through and sort of review some of my tips there as well. But symptoms of having those cataracts, so of course blurred vision. The light is scattered, so it's not concentrating at the back of the eye, and your brain can't really interpret exactly what it's seeing in a clear shot image, as well as the glare that you may experience, especially around lights. You see halos around lights, especially at nighttime. So if you go for a walk at nighttime in the street light, you look up the street lights and you see this halo glow, that can be an indication of those cataracts. You can't see well at night in general, and colors can start to seem a little bit faded. That can be another sign of that scattered light and that clouding of the lens of the eye. So let's go through the tips really quickly since we're here about what can we do for cataracts. How can we deal with cataracts naturally? Okay, so less screen time. This goes without saying. Hey, if you can listen to a podcast and not have to look at the screen, this is going to be better for your eyes. Wear your blue blocking glasses. So this is really important. This is why the questions when we started off today's Q&A, questions coming in about different brands of Q&A, just do your research. I don't call out brands here because I just don't do that. Okay, so make sure you get a good, reputable one. Often the more you spend, the better they're going to be. Make sure that they're tested for the specific blue wavelength, around 460 nanometers. Okay, DHA fish oil, really important as well. Red light, so you want to get more red light as the sun is rising, as the sun is setting. This is really important to actually help to heal your eyes, and this is why some studies done now on number 4 with that red light therapy, so the actual therapy using those red lights can actually be very restorative for vision. So that is interesting. And of course, lutein is zeaxanthin, the carotenoids, these very specific antioxidants, which are super important for your eye health. Carrots, loaded with beta carotene. Of course, important. Mom always said to eat your carrots. Why? Because they have all of that beta carotene, which converts to vitamin A. It's a very, very important, of course, vitamin for our retinal cells. And herbal medicine. So my favorites, bilberry, Ribes nigrum, they're known to actually help with the pressure in the eyes, helps with giving those antioxidants, helps with the, of course, with your eyes and the lens of the eye, so can actually decrease that clouding of the lens of the eye. Yes, it is possible if you've been diagnosed with cataracts. And I actually have a lot of anecdotal stories from, people that have followed my protocols and were able to see that clearing up. And their eye doctors are like, what? This is not, what are you taking? Well, yeah, they learned from Dr. Janine, right? And taking specific herbals, which is amazing. The bilberry, of course, the carrots, the lutein and zeaxanthin, but finding that in a whole food formulation, really important. Okay, I hope that helps. Awesome. Thank you for all the love coming in. I see all those hearts. Please make sure that you are subscribed. You're following. A lot of people tune in, and what the analytics tell me is that not everybody hits that follow button. So please make sure that you are followed, that you are following, you are subscribed. And thank you for sharing today's live as well. Thank you for the new follows. I see you. Awesome to have you here. So just so that you know, we do this every Wednesday. So this is the follow-up to yesterday's show. So every Tuesday we have the Dr. Janine show at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But on Wednesdays, it's the follow-up. I answer your questions. I can't always get to everybody's questions during the live show on Tuesdays because we cover a lot of information. It is very interactive. So what did we play for yesterday? So on Tuesdays, this is when you have the ability to win a prize. So please tune in next week. Yesterday, we played for the eye and vision support from our great sponsors, VitaTree. We thank VitaTree for letting me come out here and talk to you and educate you. And of course, supporting this show. Nice to see you. Thank you for the follow, Joe Gen. Awesome. That's so great to have you here. Thank you. Okay, so Blue Eyes is asking, what do I recommend for the migraines? So we just went through the tips. I hope you got it and you were able to screenshot that. Maybe we can pull it up one more time. Really quickly, my tips for the migraines. Now, glyphosate is another thing that we talked about yesterday. And what are the foods that are high in glyphosate? We'll go through that list really quickly in case you missed it yesterday, okay? Here we go. Foods high in glyphosate, which of course is toxic. It's going to deplete your glycine. It'll mess up your gut. So if you've got gut function issues, that leaky gut syndrome, one of the big culprits is oats. And not just eating oatmeal. I'm talking cereals, anything that has a non-organic oat in it, unfortunately, is going to most likely have that glyphosate toxicity, okay? Because they use it to increase their yields of their crops. So anything with oats, we're talking granola bars here. So please, if you buy, and I was guilty of this too, because I didn't know until I did all this research on glyphosate. I used to buy the granola bars, regular ones, at the grocery store for my kids for lunch. No more. Make sure they are organic, okay, so that you are decreasing that likelihood of that glyphosate toxicity. Wheat as well, everybody. Okay, so we also talked about celiac disease and gluten sensitivity yesterday, and there's definitely a correlation between glyphosate toxicity, of course, wheat, and problems with the gut and opening up those tight junctions in the gut and that leaky gut syndrome. So wheat. That's why a lot of people have that gluten sensitivity, maybe not necessarily celiac, but it's because of the glyphosate, okay? And this has actually been documented in, some research that I showed you yesterday. Okay, corn, orange juice even, crackers. Usually crackers are made from what? They're made from oats, wheat, corn. Cookies, so packaged cookies if they're not organic. Yeah, you got to be mindful of these things. And wine, even unfortunately, can have that glyphosate toxicity. So scary stuff here, especially if you have a lot of issues. It's important, especially for gut health and leaky gut syndrome. Now, if you have dysbiosis, so we also talked a little bit about that unhealthy microbiome, as this is related to, of course, celiac and gut health issues, a lot of gas and bloating. You may have a lot of the bad guys. So this is the parasites, the candida. I love the fact that a lot of questions are coming in about Desi cakes. What is leaky gut? Well, leaky gut, there's these things in the gut called tight junctions, and they're supposed to be nice and close together so that it's like a filter that's not going to let parasites, bad bacteria, undigested food, and immune things go through and penetrate that gut wall. The tight junctions are supposed to be nice and close together, but certain things will actually open up and damage that gut wall. And now you've got that leaking of whatever it is. It could be food particles, it could be undigested food, it could be the parasites, the candida, their eggs. All this bad stuff is getting through the gut, and now your immune system is reacting. So that, in a nutshell, is leaky gut syndrome. That then translates into autoimmune disorders, celiac disease, gluten sensitivity, inflammation, all types of gut health issues as well. because that gut is leaky. Okay, so yeah, Bettina, can pre and probiotic help with leaky gut? Absolutely, and that's why I have this demonstration, because you've got to put the good guys back in. Your probiotics are your good guys, your good healthy flora, and certain strains are better than others. There's two that I love, Lactobacillus acidophilus, Bifidobacterium bifidum. Just make sure that it's designed for the human gut. Designed, when you're purchasing a supplement like that, make sure that it's designed for the human digestive tract, okay? And that's really important, that you're getting enough of the good guys, because then with leaky gut now, once you've, really crowded out those bad guys from the gut wall with your probiotics, this is going to not be able to get in and penetrate. That's just one mechanism how probiotics work and why it's so important for your gut health. Great questions. Love this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, make sure whenever you are taking probiotics that they've been tested to be acid stable. So let's go over to Lucy really quickly. A lot of probiotics have not been tested. So they actually, when you're ingesting them, the probiotics have to get past your stomach acid. Most of them have not been tested. The specific strains need to be tested to be acid stable to actually get to both the small and large intestine. So that's really important. When you are taking probiotics, also make sure there's no fillers or flow agents, which I like to talk a lot about. No magnesium stearate, no microcrystalline cellulose. Just make sure that there aren't any fillers or flow agents in the probiotics that you're taking, and they should be human. So the microflora should be designed for your human digestive tract, okay? So things to look for. And what causes cataracts? Okay, another question. What causes cataracts? We did go through this yesterday. Let's go through this really quickly. So if you're having issues with your vision, you're not sure what, smoking is definitely correlated, because that's a lot of free radical damage that can be damaging the lens of your eye. If you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Janine. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. So yes, smoking can be a cause of that clouding of the lens of the eye. Alcohol, unfortunately, as well. High blood sugar, so finding that balance with your blood glucose levels is going to be really important for those cataracts and vision in general, as well as blue light. And they actually compared. So as much as you've heard, always wear what? You're always told to prevent cataracts, you must wear your sunglasses. You're always wearing your sunglasses to protect your eyes. Well, what the evidence shows, and I'm going to show you this study really quickly, I hope we can pull it up, is that they compared UV light, so UVA and UVB from the sun, versus blue light at 460 nanometers. And what did the study show? Well, it actually showed that what is most damaging in terms of cataracts is blue visible light, okay? And it was at 460 nanometers, cause the most cataracts. So as much as, yes, we have to be somewhat vigilant in terms of protecting our eyes and not staring at the sun when the UV is high, these things are all true. However, how much screen time do you have? How much time do you spend indoor under artificial lights, and you're frying your eyeballs and the lenses of your eyes with that 460 nanometer light? You have to ask yourself these questions and start to make those changes. And that's why wearing the blue light blocking glasses, very, very important, especially when you're under artificial light. Does that make sense? Okay. Honest opinion, no wonder your eyes are shot. Yeah, that could be why, because we have so much screen time. Even compare, think of your life even, 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. I mean, with social media, which I love. I mean, you're all watching me right now. I hope you all have, your yellow screens on your screens that you're watching, and you've got your blue blockers on. I hope that that's true, but maybe that's something in the next week or so you make it and take it upon yourself to get some good blue light blocking glasses so that you can really enjoy and not have, you get all the good out of learning on social media. And that's why I love, my channel and the fact that we do these Q&As and I can answer your questions, and, we can talk about natural medicine and all the research information that I like to share with you. I love that. But again, at the same time, you've got to protect your eyes, okay? Which is so important. And I just want to remind you, yes, podcasts are amazing because you're listening. You're not always having to watch. So please check out my podcast. Listen to them. They're on the different platforms. It's a newer development in the Dr. Janine Show, and I've done some great interviews already, more to come. So check out all of my podcasts, which are fantastic. Okay. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in, Gina, Philip. It's great that you are able to tune in to today. And of course, and there's some doctors here as well. So thank you for tuning in. I love the fact that you're here. And Yes, you can get fit overs for your regular glasses. Jill is here. Hello, Jill. Nice to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Jill actually sent me, Jill has been with me, following me, I'm going to say for probably since the beginning of the time when I was on television, 15 years now. And she sent me a nice message yesterday. So nice to see you, Jill. Thank you for tuning in. It's so great to have you here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, and Dooku, I'm so glad that you're learning. Thank you for tuning in. It's so great to have you all here, all my new followers as well. So yeah, blue eyes, glyphosate is not good for you. Yeah, it's something you can do a lot more research on. It is not good for you. So it's something that you definitely want to avoid. And that's why, you know, not always being able to eat organic, maybe if you can't afford the organic or it's just not accessible to you to eat organic, if you live in North America especially, because the glyphosate issue is much more prevalent here in North America than what it is in other, like in Europe, for instance. It's in some countries it's actually banned. They can't use it in their agriculture. But this is important that if you can't maybe afford the organic cereal, granola bars, whatever, just maybe abstain and have something else that isn't going to be as toxic with the glyphosate. And that's why I gave you the list of the glyphosate foods: the wheat, the oats, the corn. Those are the big ones. And you know, when you talk to GI doctors and people that, you know, are dealing on a daily basis with their patients that have a lot of gut issues, often those are the big culprits. Wheat, right? The gluten sensitivity, which is called gluten sensitivity, but really is it a glyphosate issue? Something we have to think about. And is it a deuterium issue as well? So that's something, if you don't know what deuterium is, we can review that in a future show. I do have some videos on that. I think it's part and parcel as to why some of these foods are very irritating because of the deuterium as well to the gut and why it makes us feel not so great. Okay, so great. Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. It was so great to have you here. Now remember to tune in on Tuesday for the next Dr. Janine show at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have new topics next week, and I want you to tune in at that time. So in the meantime, we will also be loading a lot of new videos, new content always coming out. Make sure that you're following, you're subscribed, that you have your notifications turned on so you always get that little message. I love those messages, you know, when you wake up first thing in the morning, it's like, oh, a new video has appeared, and it's great. And it's nice to connect with you every time that I'm here. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.